right on First Tuesday.
But I think it substitutes a bit for working with men, you know, being around a group of men.
We meet the UBs, a football team recruited from the Yorkshire Dole queue. And we take a special journey on a famous line, Under Threat.
Never before has such a group of people all come together in one common cause. We don't think any government can resist that.
Good evening. In tonight's programme we begin with a football match, though not mercifully with horror and disaster, but with a team that plays for fun before small and friendly crowds around the village of Conisborough in Yorkshire. But the fun has a rather special quality. All the players in the UBs, as the team is called, are out of work. UB itself stands for Unemployment Benefit. As you'll notice, Goals Not Dole was filmed in the winter of the miners' strike, but the UBs are still playing.
Hold it, Brad! Come on, it's empty there!
When I first got made redundant, it's a terrible feeling. It's as if nobody wants you. You know, you're useless. You're just not part of society anymore. Just to be given a letter in your hand to say that your service is no longer required, it's as if you know, well, you weren't good enough for the job. You know, you're just scum.
I felt sorry for him because, 28 now. He's done for. I don't think he'll get another job. No way. So he's had it. Really?
I'm 30 now, and I must have been unemployed for the good part of 4 years now. The majority of people in this area either work at the pit or are unemployed. If you're not at the pits, you're not nowhere.
If Jeff never works again, how am I going to help my children when they need help like we did when we first got married? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to have to help themselves and get on best they can if it's going to be like it is now. And I can't really see it getting much better. Not for Jeff. He's no qualifications. All he can do really is labouring.
I left school when I was 15. I went straight to Sheffield Wednesday. I played for them for 12 years. 21 I started to pull hamstrings. I had 3 cartilages out in 2 years. And being such a lucky person as I am, I broke my leg. So that stopped all that. I'm 33, but I can look back and say I've been abroad. I've travelled in aeroplanes. I've earned good money. I've spent it, but I've earned good money. Stayed in the best hotels. The children now will probably never have that opportunity. They will probably never have the chance to be embarrassed about going in the dole because it will just be one thing, school straight to the dole. That worries me. That worries me for the area.
This other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself, against infection and the hand of war, this happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall, or as a moat defensive to her house, against the envy of less happier lands, this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, this nurse, this teeming womb of royal kings.
No!
I'm not. Conisborough and Dennerby must be one of the nicest places to live in, even if you are unemployed. because it's that closer community that people are friendly with each other. I'm just glad that I am unemployed in Conisbrough. Enjoy it at school. No, dear. I want you to do everything they tell you and get everything you can out of it. All through school, when you get bigger, when you go to bigger school, you must get everything as much as you can. You try as hard as you can. Because there's not a lot left for you, you know, when you leave school, is there? You don't want to end up like your dad, do you?
I always thought people that didn't work were bloody idle. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there with jobs that still think same. But if it ever happened to them, they'd soon notice a difference. It's not at all how you imagine you're loafing about house all day, living it up. You don't have money to live it up. I wish we did. We don't. It's just same old boring routine.
When I left work, it was a challenge, really. It was so strange having Jill there all the time. When she finished work, you know, it was like living with someone different. I mean, you know each other, but you don't. And when you're living on top of each other all the time, it can get really hard. I mean, not everybody's happy 24 hours a day. And that's when the pressure really builds up.
No.
I started going out and going around Doncaster, and all you get is put your name down and we'll get in touch with you. The recession, that was the biggest, you know, just the recession, nothing doing, like, can you come back in a couple of months, or put your name down, it'll be on file, and if we do need any forklift drivers, we'll get in touch with you. So after a couple of months, you know, I used to come in, and you were just down, you know, utterly, you know, swamped out, you didn't know what to do with yourself, so I thought, well, bugger it, let them find me a job now. It's funny, that truck, it were your own truck, that were, you know, you were with it 40 hours a week. It was just something you got attached to, you were sat on it for 8 hours a day. You know, you used to maintain it and things like that. You know, it was something that, it were part of my life, you know, for 3 years. We were all good friends, you know, we had a laugh, you know, occasionally we went out and had a drink together and things like that. And that's mainly what you do miss, you know, being with lads. And I've still got me things in here. Might be in oak, but I still keep them for gardening. You never know, they might send for me back. It must have took me 20 minutes to go in the place. I just stood around, you know. Anybody that walked past, you know, I tried to make conversation with them, you know, so I didn't have to go in. And In the end, I thought, well, it's no use standing out here. I've got to go in and sign on. When I went in, I was surprised the number of people you do know, you know, that you see around the village, and you think, "Why, he's on the dole as well," you know. So it's not just me, because I think that's what it is. You think it's just you. You think everybody in the world's looking at you. He's unemployed. He's useless. But it's surprising when I did go in the dole, how many people I did, you know. And that's how, you know, the football team started, with the people that you do know, and that's how we got together with that, for something to do.
I remember the first time when I had to sign on, I was very embarrassed. You know, I wanted to get a false nose and hat and beard. You go down and lots of people know you, and that is probably what is more embarrassing than anything. You know, they're saying, "Oh, Mick, what are you doing in here?" You don't want to tell them your troubles. It's your fault. You've had a go at something. The system's gone against you. So you're out of work. But you don't particularly want to tell them, but you don't want to be rude to them, because you were never rude to them while you played football. So why should you suddenly change? Because you're out of work.
On the dole, you are in a prison, really. It's just a bigger version of an open prison. You're limited to what you can do and where you can go. You know, somebody treats you, your parents take you out. I mean, to get away must be like going out on parole. The organisation of the side is solely on my part, with letting people know. When I meet them on a weekend, they're always asking me when the next game is. And if I say there isn't one arranged, could I arrange one? I think it is a substitute for work, really, because it gives them something to look forward to. You all right?
Yeah.
Are you fit?
Yeah. So.
You bees have got a game Wednesday. Playing striking miners again on Denneby's ground. I want you down for 10:30. All right?
Yeah.
I'll have to get off because I've got others to get in touch with. So I'll see you down there then.
Yeah.
All right.
Please look in the tank and tell me what you see.
Somebody's got to stop at home and look after kids, and it's usually me. Men have more mates than women do, because women are usually stopping at home like me, looking after little ones. If we didn't have television, I'd be lost. It's really only form of entertainment I've got. So other than that, I don't really go anywhere really. Shops and school. Nothing else.
All right, Peter. All right.
Yes.
Are you fit?
Fit as ever be.
All right for Wednesday?
Wednesday, yes, definitely, yes. I've a little ankle injury, but I think I should be all right for Wednesday.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Kicking off at 11, so I want you down for about 10:20. Is that all right?
10:20. Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
What age do you start to appreciate that you might not have a job? When have you got the knowledge that when you leave school you're not going to get a job?
Yeah, but most kids can read, Mick, and all that you read now is just about unemployment.
Yeah, but kids
so
are
it must depress them. Even kids get depressed.
Yeah, but kids are 12 and 13, they're still playing cowboys and Indians.
No, they're not now, Mick. They take things in now. I mean, it's just a part of society now. But I think kids have got to be learned to accept unemployment. They've got to be, you know, from school. I mean, teachers shouldn't be saying now, like when I was at school, first things they used to say to you, what are you going to be when you grow up? Train driver, fireman. I mean, that for me should be just finished.
No, but we vote people into Parliament.
Yeah,
now, they're the people. They should create jobs for us. Or give us a chance to get off his backside and have a job if we want one.
There should be enough employment in area, especially in an area like this. I mean, we are surrounded with Rotherham, Sheffield, Doncaster. I mean, they used to have some right industries. Sheffield, Whitsteel. Yeah, I mean, you can't go nowhere now.
Yeah, but if you drive into Sheffield now, all you pass is closed steelworks. Yeah. And that's what it will be next. You'll be passing closed coal mines. There'll just be nothing.
Yeah, but where do they expect people to move for a job?
Well,
Because every area seems to be the same.
Yeah, well, what they'll do is they'll give everybody the redundancy and tell them to open a little corner shop. But you see, there'll be nobody to spend any money at your little corner shop. You'll have 500 corner shops in Conisbrough.
It's a place to pass through.
It's strange, really. When you go out now and you're talking, everything seems to be geared to politics. I mean, at one time of day, you wouldn't go anywhere, and politics would never be dreamt to be fetched up. But everything is politics, and what's happening, and the kids, even the kids talk about it. You know, this Mrs. Thatcher, this, what a bastard and all this. And they really are angry. You know, I think that they think that they don't understand. But kids do understand. 15, 16, they know what's going on in the world. And they can see what's happening to them. And they're taking it in. I mean, some of them are quite clever. And a lot that deep down are really angry. They want more out in life. I mean, they've seen it. They've seen what their parents have had. And they want a taste of that. But what are they going to get? They don't know. They're scared of the future.
No, it seems to be getting worse all the time. Because there's not only pits that are really shutting down, is there? There's all kinds of jobs that are doing it. With prices going up sky high, and Dole money, they don't get much at all. My dad's Not Dole, and we only just survive us. Only just. So, you know what I mean? People are committing suicide over it, aren't there? There's quite a lot happening through it, and I think it'll carry on, mate. I think there'll end up being a war.
Alright, put it down. Here was your ball. Get up, Sean, you're all right.
Joycey. Potts, the long one. Prendergast to goal. Beautiful header by Mick Prendergast, the Crystal Palace defence. If he hits this, it's 2-0. He saved it. The rebound to Prendergast, 2-0. Prendergast, his second goal. Craig missed the penalty. Molesgrove has moved up. There's a header, another goal. Is that the hat-trick? Prendergast's arms are in the air. He's been congratulated, and I think that's 3 in a row. The grin on his face tells its own story. 3 in a row for Mick.
I was very happy to have had 15 years. If I hadn't have gone to Wednesday, and if I hadn't have worked very hard with what I'd got, I would have probably ended up down Cadeby Pit. That's why I want the miners to win the strike and keep Cadeby Pit open. No, there's bigger people than me to go on the Dole. It's not nice, though. Lucky. Somebody help him over there. You don't have a routine. It all depends. Depends if you've got some money in your pocket. If you've got some money in your pocket, then you can go and have a drink, you can pop into the bookies and have a bet. I don't suppose you're supposed to have a bet when you're unemployed or on the sick, but people do. If you've got some money, my routine might be, take the dog out, read the paper, pop up to the gate at Swinton, have a game of cards, and see my girlfriend at night. Very ordinary routine. I enjoyed the routine more when I was at Dixon's. The work was hard, but I enjoyed my evenings more when I was getting up at 7:30, finishing at 5:15 and getting a wage, because I'd earned it. Getting out at night was a pleasure. Now it's just something you drift into. Play on! And you shouldn't really be wishing your life away, should you? But you tend to say, God, I wish it was 8 o'clock. That's why I probably go to the school. It gives me something to do. Plus, I enjoy it. I must say, I thoroughly enjoy working with the children.
A couple more games of 3s, then we'll go down to 2s, because it's a bit tight, lads.
I don't think they've got a future at the moment. I hope I'm wrong. That's just my point of view, my idea. There's just nowhere for them to go. There's no jobs, no job prospects whatsoever. The only job that they could get is if they are a very, very good footballer and a club wants them. I can't even go to the pit now.
Yeah, I'd like to become a footballer. Yeah, I'd like to become a professional footballer.
I'd like to play football for Sheffield Wednesdays. If I can get in. Mick, Pendergast has got me a chance to go through and have a trial with him. And I'm going it. I think it's Easter to have a trial and I hope I get in with him.
Just take that round there. Just stick it in.
Yeah, sure, we're helping as well. Stacey, thank you.
When you go to Doncaster and you see everything in shops at one time when I were working, you'd go and buy a full wardrobe. You know, if you were going out Saturday night, we wouldn't come away from Doncaster unless we got a new outfit to go out in. But nowadays, you know, you just know you haven't got the money.
When we get us gyro cashed, first stop is gas stamps. Next stop's shopping, supermarket co-op, so that's a fortnight's tins and whatever, cornflakes, that sort of thing. And then after that, it's mainly day-to-day. Try and make it spin out.
I mean, you shouldn't miss out on bits of things in life. My kids are missing out, and it's not fair. I mean, I remember going away with my parents, and they should remember the same, and they're missing out.
You can't live like this all the time. It's fine if you think it's only going to be for a year, 2 years, 3 years. But if it gets any more than that, we never have a holiday. We never get anything new for our house. What happens if settee collapse today, tomorrow? We won't have anything to sit on because we've got no savings.
When the bills come in, and all you're doing is thinking, how can I pay them? What can I do? What can I miss out on? And then it gets you, it bites into you, and you don't know how to do it. And then I asked Jill what she thinks, and if we can get some sort of solution, it's not too bad. But when they all come in at once, it does make you worry. Hello, Johnny, Mac. You all right?
Let's go for my friend.
Yeah, what shit you got us?
I've had to make do amend, I'm afraid. You know,
right.
I've had to fetch odd shorts up for Pobbit.
Oh,
First aid kit, my friend. And I'll see you Wednesday.
Have a drink before you go?
No, mate, I've got to shoot off. I've got to shoot off, get kids in. So I'll see you, 10 o'clock Wednesday?
Right. Cheers,
Down to
John.
down.
Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah.
Cheers, Jeff. Come on, mate.
Ta-ra. All right, Peter.
Yeah.
How's the knee?
It's not bad. It looks as though it's going to be all right.
Are you going to be all right for it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What about that?
So, what time's kick-off?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Be down for about 20 past 10.
Yeah.
And get things sorted out and
Yeah, fair enough.
be all right then. Oh, I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah, be taking a stud anyway.
All right then, Peter.
Yes, I'll see you on Wednesday then.
Keep fit. All right, mate. Ta-ra. The fixture tomorrow against the local striking miners is going to be a good game because they're the same spirit as we are. Because they, at the moment, are just like being unemployed. They're struggling like we are, and it'll be fun. Now, as I tell you, before every game, you know what they're going to be like. They're going to run and run. So you've got to do the same as them. You're a bit more skillful than them. If you get one up, they're going to put that extra yard in. So you've got to just combat it for 10 minutes, let the heads go down, and then we'll bury them. Gary, all 3 kicks are yours. But, you know, for inside his own box, like, you'll take them.
Is that you, Biff? No, these are good shirts.
Brandy, yeah?
Lucky I borrowed this.
That's good form, Moss.
Nobody left in here, Gary.
How many times have you jumped on left? Come on, lads, let's do them.
For me, it's a job. It's a job because I get involved with it and it gets me out. I do take the kids with me when I go and I let everyone know, but it gets me involved. It gets my brain ticking over again.
I think it substitutes a bit for working with men, you know, being around a group of men, you know, for a couple of hours. Escaping, I suppose it's letting off steam, you know, playing and running around for 90 minutes. You let some of the steam off that you could let off in work sometimes, you know. I mean, I said before that the atmosphere at work was great, but occasionally it did boil over, you know, you did have your odd arguments, and it's a way of letting your steam out, you know, not coming in here and ranting and raving at Lorraine.
I think it's a good game. It's like Taffy's just said, it's a nice blend on both sides. I'd like UBs to win this one and Miners to win strike.
You more or less live on the dole day by day. You just see what the next day brings.
Come on, Johnny's players can take them all day, man.
I think the only thing I'm looking forward to now, this time of the year, is Christmas for Stacey. Because I know that she's not going to be short anything. So as long as she's okay. I mean, Christmas morning when she opens all the presents, that keeps me going for another couple of months. You know, you know, it brings a bit of happiness in your life, seeing Stacey smile and things like that. It's like I say, my life revolves around Stacey.
Come on, you Bins! Come on now.
It's getting worse all the time. I mean, it's all right for somebody to tell you that you're doing all right and you can manage. They're telling you now they're all right, see? They're always telling you, you can live on this, you can live on that. I can't see nothing changing. I mean, if I really thought about it, I might never work again. Which, you know, you might as well go jump off near this bridge. But you're always living in hope that the things will change. You know, somebody might come and build an old factory and they might not just set all the young ones on, They might start and think that blokes round about 30 are just in the prime, and they're geared for work, and they want work, and that's all they want to do.
What a poignant document. Meanwhile, the team plays on. No jobs for them yet. After the break, we join the playwright Alan Bennett on a train journey over the Pennines along a line under threat. See you in a moment. Hello again. I imagine that most people judge British Rail by the trains they take. So if you commute on a route that's dirty, overcrowded and late, you may not at first share the passion for travel by train that's provoked a furious conflict between British Rail and thousands of people who are trying to stop the closure of the line that goes from Settle to Carlisle. But then you may not know that journey. The playwright Alan Bennett does, and as the narrator of the end of the line, he explains what the row's about and why British Rail has had to think again.
The only high-speed mountain railway in the world, the Settle to Carlisle, the last of the great Victorian railway enterprises, built with breathtaking confidence but had scant regard for geographical problems. The line rises majestically to nearly 1,200 feet above sea level in just 22 miles, transporting its passengers through some of the most beautiful scenery in Britain. The coming of the railways was a revolution. In just 50 years, the first and finest railway system in the world was complete. The scale of endeavour is hard to imagine. An army of navvies achieved astonishing feats of engineering with little more than a pick and shovel. But no line demanded greater energy and sacrifice than the Settle Carlisle. It is, without doubt, England's most historic and scenic route. British Rail want to close it. On Christmas Eve 1983, closure notices went up along the line, starting the closure procedure. But to close this line may prove as difficult as it was to build. Ron Cotton is the British Rail manager with the difficult and thankless task of overseeing the closure.
It is unique. It's the last of the great Victorian railway enterprises. I think one must accept that. It's a beautiful line, has a lot of unique characters, but BR are not really in this business of national heritage. And that seems to me to be the basis of the argument. For business reasons, within the strict criteria that laid down, the financial conditions under which BR operates, and our objectives are such that we must ask for closure of this route.
But the scale of opposition to closure has been surprising, not just in the sheer numbers, but in the great variety of voices that have been raised and the determination of those voices. Peter Horton is secretary of the Joint Action Committee, which coordinates the groups which are opposed to closure.
Never before have so many people objected, and this time we have MPs from all political parties supporting us. We have local businessmen and the unions. We have councillors of every council, of all persuasions, again, supporting the line. Never before has such a group of people all come together in one common cause. We don't think any government can resist that.
This tide of protest was started by people like Graham Not Dole and his dog, Rossup, named after the first station outside Whitby, and the Sheville family from Giggleswick, people who use the line not just for pleasure but as a necessary transport route. The total number of objectors is now 22,336, and a dog. British Rail claim that to maintain the line will cost millions, and this is not justified as they could identify only a few regular users. The Joint Action Committee not only question British Rail's figures and conclusions, but suggests that the issue is much wider.
The story goes back to the 1850s, when you had the West Coast route to Scotland and the East Coast route to Scotland, and you had the then infant Midland Railway based on Derby, and it was determined to expand. And it started to expand first to London, and then its great goal was to get to Scotland. And it came up with this scheme of doing just that, and looked at the country that it had to go through. And really, with the two established companies, one on the west and one on the east, the only course open to it was to go right over the High Pennines, the amazing country that was before it in railway terms, amazingly difficult. And it drew up its plans to do so. And then suddenly it perhaps got cold feet, or its rivals did. The London North Western, the West Coast route, said to it, well, why don't you use our tracks instead? And so they patched up an agreement. But the companies that were allied to the Midland wouldn't wear this. And so the Midland Railway was in the extraordinary position of having to build a railway it didn't really want to. And to understand the settled Carlisle, I think you have to appreciate this fact, that this was a railway that should never have been.
And during the time of the railway building, apparently it was just about the wettest point of the century. And in this soggy wilderness lived about 2,000 people. The first priority, of course, was putting a tramway to get the big supplies up for the quarries, for Beemore Tunnel. And then the next priority was to get in a large number of huts, and that is what is done.
Disease and early death were commonplace. Over 600 men, women and children died in the making of this line. Over 150 are buried here at Chapel le Dale, many victims of the smallpox epidemic of 1871. There's a commemorative plaque in the church, but it was 20 years before the Midland Railway got round to erecting it. But what men those navvies were. In 6 years, 33,000 in all worked on this line. They were great eaters of beef and prone to drunkenness and violence. But a top man could move 20 tons of earth a shift. And despite the appalling conditions, they constructed 325 bridges, 21 viaducts, and drilled 14 tunnels in just over 6 years.
Now if you ride this famous line across those heathered fells, when crossing Ribblehead Viaduct, remember the tale I tell. There's Marlestang and Agegill and the Dendale's lovely wild, and now we'll have to slave it from Settle to Carlisle. And it's up in the morning, lads, in wind, snow and hail. Hold fast to your hammers, lads, we'll lay another rail.
It can be very, very beautiful up here, of course, but when conditions are bad, they're really bad. I always reckon that they get about every 16 years is when you get the worst blowovers, you know. The the community benefited by the line. In winter times, such as we've just been talking about, it was sometimes the only way of getting groceries, livestock, feeding stuffs and that up here for the outlying farms and cottages, you see. And it's rather sorry, they're going to lose out if the line goes. All right, it wasn't used very often for this purpose, but it was a lifesaver when it was, you know.
The line opened for passenger traffic in May 1876, and it had an active life until 1923, when the old rival railway companies were grouped together into regions. It was used heavily in 2 world wars, but in 1948 came nationalisation and the gradual decline of the route. Of the 20 stations on the line, 17 have been closed. With closure comes neglect, with neglect decay, and with decay vandalism.
There has not been a deliberate policy of running down the railway. I emphatically deny that.
Well, I think it's clear, with the benefit of hindsight, that there has been a degree of closure by stealth. I don't personally know how deliberate that has been, but the general cycle of taking traffic away from the line, of rerouting the Nottingham to Glasgow Express, of closing stations along the line, and then saying right at the end, well, of course, there aren't now enough passengers left to make it justifiable. That just seems to have been too much of a pattern of coincidence, and I think that there has been a degree of deliberation right through it, which indeed is endorsed by some of the internal British Rail documents which have been leaked.
On the 6th of January 1982, a meeting was held at British Rail headquarters at Euston, and itself recommended that closure of the line should be progressed. But this should remain confidential until services had been diverted, as otherwise this diversion could be barred until the completion of the statutory procedures.
We believe that they did not accept the minister's decision that they shouldn't in 1964. They included the closure in their long-term plans in 1966 and 1967, and they've worked relentlessly from that date until today to try and close it.
The Ribblehead Viaduct is the finest structure on the line. A quarter of a mile long, it has 24 spans. But it's faced a century of Pennine weather, and its deterioration is central to British Rail's argument for closure.
The problems of the Ribblehead Viaduct are, of course, well known and widely acknowledged. My understanding is, however, that the structural problems of the line now go far beyond that single cost and, crucially, are far greater than ever they would have been if reasonable maintenance schedules had been maintained.
Christopher Wallace is a chartered civil engineer who specialises in bridges and viaducts. For 13 years he was an engineer with British Rail.
The viaduct has got into its present parlous state by poor maintenance, mainly in the waterproofing membrane, directly under the ballast. And this has, over the years, broken down. And the water's pouring down through wet ballast into the arches, then into the piers, right down to the ground. And it's washed out all the bonding agent in the mortar, leaving pure sand.
We would not deliberately allow viaducts to fall down. I mean, it is a possibility that with a severe winter, some appalling weather conditions, that something could happen.
And it can never fail suddenly, because it's just a pile of blocks, one upon another. These stones are cracked due to a geological de-stressing. They've been highly compressed in the ground before they were quarried. They were taken out and put in the open air where they're no longer compressed, and now after nearly 100 years they're beginning to feel that there's freedom. And this is a core sample taken from the bridge itself. The maximum compressive strength of this is 9 tons per square inch before it fails. That is twice the strength of the strongest concrete that we can make. Well, I would repair the viaduct by filling the piers that are hollow with mass concrete, grouting the piers that are filled with rubble with cement grout, pointing all the masonry outside with cement mortar and resin mortar, filling the void under the deck with mass concrete, and most important of all, make a completely sound waterproof membrane all the way across the deck. this would solve the problem after stroke.
And really, we've got to renew bridges, viaducts, particularly the viaducts. Of course, the most well-known is the Ribble Head Viaduct, which really needs replacing if we're going to keep the line in the long term. We're talking here somewhere in the region of £5 to £6 million.
My rough estimate for the work I've described is £500,000.
This variance of £6 million for replacing the viaduct, or £500,000 to repair it, could represent the difference between retention and closure.
I'm not a politician, but from what I read, it seems obvious that they very much want to shut the line to save money, or to think they save money, and they are prepared to go to more or less any lengths to achieve their ends. And I think this is very sad. And I disapprove of civil engineers, what I would describe as fudging information to achieve political ends. I think they're undermining my profession, because if you can't believe civil engineers, who the hell can you believe?
It would cost the country, not British Rail, but the country, as much to close this line as it would to keep it open. We're thinking in terms of 120 direct job losses amongst British Rail staff, probably 2 or 3 times as many as that in the tourist industry, and the extra social provisions such as hospital cars, extra ambulances, extra road building schemes, roads that would run at a loss, of course, so extra bus services, again, which would run at a loss. So in fact there is a distinct cost to the country associated with closure of the line.
If British Rail were to employ the other tactic, if they really were to promote the line, then not only would the employment created by the line actually increase slightly, but the extent to which the tourist trade, which is of very great importance in North Craven, the extent to which that would be boosted could provide jobs perhaps well into the hundreds.
Well, we feel it's very peculiar that once they've decided to close the railway line and made the public announcement to that effect, the British Rail should then say, we're going to maximise our revenue. Well, why didn't they do that first? And why appoint one of their best marketing men to close the line? Why not appoint him and say to him, look, go out and do the best you can and get us some money and keep the line open?
Perverse as it may seem, once you announce a closure, it's far better than any marketing. Strange, but you have to accept these circumstances. So BR are in the commercial business. Now, we couldn't really make the right decision, could we, whichever way we go. If we in fact say, right, now in the short term the line is there, a great deal of attention has been focused on it, people want to know what is the settled Carlisle line, we should market it and make money. And this is what we've decided to do, and I think it's quite right and proper. In fact, we're quite pleased with the number of people that have travelled on the line in the past season. I think there'll be even more next year.
Every region of Britain has a Transport Users Consultative Committee, a TUCC. When British Rail wants to close a route, it is the relevant TUCC that holds hearings at which objectors can appear. There have to be TUCC hearings, but their conclusions can only be based on personal hardship.
So what hopes have really the consultative procedures over this line got? It's more of a sham. However, the Minister can and has the power to call a full-blown public inquiry if he so decides, and we would urge him to do so.
But the 1962 Transport Act, under which the beaching cuts took place, states that the Minister can call for another report based on wider economic issues, or indeed a full public inquiry. In view of the complexity of the issues involved, John Watson, a local MP, feels that only such an inquiry can give a fair appraisal of the line.
Only by such a procedure can the inevitable charges of deliberate neglect, of economic blackmail, and of closure by stealth be either substantiated or repudiated forever.
We're fighting not just for the one railway line, but for the rural railway lines throughout the length and breadth of this country.
Well, I must be schizophrenic, I suppose, because I have a great deal of sympathy with those that, in fact, feel that it is a great national heritage.
Well, it's very sad, actually. I appreciate, I suppose, from one point of view, that when something isn't paying, I suppose that's the way they look at it. For myself, personally, yes, I'm sorry if it has to go.
As a businessman, looking at it from the point of view of BR, which we have to, is that there's no case for the retention of this line.
The settled Carlisle could never be rebuilt. The sacrifice of men and money on this scale are not compatible with modern commercial thinking. If it closes, it will be lost forever. The community will have lost its transport and its jobs, tourists will have lost their favourite route, and the nation will have lost another part of its heritage. And how will posterity view the men who choose to close what is, by their own admission, Britain's most historic and scenic railway line?
The end of the line, which is still a question, not a statement. Since that film was made, the campaigners have handed in a petition to the Ministry of Transport signed by 40,000 people, and the fight to save the line goes on. That's all from First Tuesday for this month. I'll be back again at the same time next month, which is, of course, the first Tuesday in July. Until then, good night.